So he said المانع in the Arabic language لغة من المنح, from منح, stopping something. No, منع is to stop someone from doing something. He says هو أن تحول بين الشخص وبين الشيء فتجعل بينهما مانعا, is to stop someone from doing something. You put المانع generally will be a barrier. The door is a مانع, the wall is a مانع. So to put a barrier between someone or something and something else.
It's like shaitan, he puts a barrier for you to do good.
Yes.
So verse in Surah Qalam. Verse in Surah Qalam.
Yes.
If you know it, I think like 8th verse, or it says hinder of every good, like that, will throw into the fire something. It says hinder of every good.
ولا أمرنهم. لا, not in Surah Al-Qalam.
I think so.
وقال نون.
Yeah.
نون والقلم وما يسطرون. I can't think of any ayah that says that a barrier or something.
Oh.
We'll see it inshallah when we finish. واصطلاحا, he's saying واصطلاحا ما رتب الشرع على وجوده العدم. That is in the Arabic language, the definition of مانع. However, in the اصطلاح ما رتب الشارع على وجوده العدم. This means if this thing exists, then whatever action you are doing is not considered or is invalid, doesn't exist. We will explain. So if أقسامه, he said is two different categories. It's two different categories. المانع is two different categories. So first is مانع الحكم, and second is مانع للسبب. So there is مانع for حكم and مانع for سبب. The مانع of the حكم. So the decision, the حكم, which is halal, haram, obligation, punishment, that is حكم from the Sharia. So something that will stop that حكم. He say the example of it, the meaning of it, أن يقع فعل من المكلف. You know what مكلف is by now. What is مكلف? Is the person who is to whom الشريعة addresses. The person who is addressed by the Sharia, مكلف, is someone who will be بالغ, adult, عاقل, sane. So that is مكلف, بالغ, عاقل. So so now what is مانع? أن يقع فعل من المكلف يستوجب حكما شرعيا. So he does something, and whatever he does will have a حكم that will require, there is a حكم from the Sharia in it. However, so he does something that everything, all the conditions are there, but then there is Sharia will make a barrier between doing the حكم, within to apply the حكم. For example, someone who has killed someone, the حكم of this person is to be killed in the Sharia. Someone has killed someone, the حكم of the Sharia is to be killed. So now مكلف, he is مكلف, the Sharia ordered him not to kill anybody whose blood is forbidden, but he has killed him. So there is the حكم here is that he should be killed. This is the example that he is giving. So, but now this person has killed his father, his son. Someone killed his son.
He kills someone.
Yeah, someone kills his son. Then they said, of course intentionally, because if it's not intentionally, by mistake, then there is no qisas. When you kill someone by mistake, there is no qisas. It's only when you kill him intentionally. No, but someone killed his son. Will you kill him? Do you have to kill him? According to the majority, which are the four madhahib, you should not. The reason they say there is mani' here. They say there is something that stops you from killing him from the Sharia, what we call Manih, the barrier. There is a barrier here. The barrier is the hadith that says قوله لا يقتل والد بولده, that the Prophet said that a man should not be killed for his son. Now he says he say hadith صحيح لغيره, is hadith صحيح for not for itself, for other reason. Meaning one hadith comes from weak narration, and weak narration, they say this hadith is Hasan, or Hasan and Hasan, they say this hadith is Sahih. He will say this hadith is narrated by Ahmad and Tirmidhi from Umar ibn Khattab, and isnad of it is Hasan, and there is another something that helps, makes this hadith to be stronger, narrated by Ibn Abbas. Both of these hadith are in Tirmidhi, and the first hadith is narrated by someone called Ismail ibn Ayyash from Al-Muthanna ibn Sabbah, from Amr ibn Shu'ayb, from his father, from his grandfather, from Suraqa ibn Ja'sham. Tirmidhi, after he narrated this hadith, he said this hadith is narrated by Ismail ibn Ayyash. Ismail ibn Ayyash, when he narrates from other than people of Sham, he is weak. And Muthanna ibn Sabbah is not from people from Sham, so he is weak. Muthanna ibn Sabbah also, he is very weak. And Tirmidhi, after he narrated this hadith, he said, and Muthanna ibn Sabbah is not considered to be trustworthy. Amr ibn Shu'ayb, from his father, from his grandfather, is also himself, all this chain of narrators are weak. Ahmad bin Hanbal says Amr ibn Shu'ayb, when people want, they take it. When they don't want, they don't take him. Because he is weak, and he brings the number of the hadith that he narrates is so many, but most of them don't make even sense. So the whole hadith here is da'if. And Tirmidhi, after he narrated this hadith, he said, and this hadith fihi ittirab, is like, it's not good. Like someone says it's the narration of Suraqa, someone says Umar ibn Khattab the way he says here, and some says Amr ibn Shu'ayb directly to the trustworthy people narrated it this way, from Amr ibn Shu'ayb from the Prophet, from Amr ibn Shu'ayb from the Prophet, a long gap, which will make the hadith very weak unanimously. Now, if a weak person such as Al-Muthanna ibn Sabbah narrated from Amr ibn Shu'ayb, and he make it the narration of Suraqa ibn Ja'sham, is still not good. Why? Because Muthanna ibn Sabbah is weak, and he is contradicting the trustworthy people who say that this hadith is broken. Now, he didn't, when he said this hadith is Hasan, he didn't refer to these two narrations. He referred to another narration that is narrated after these two in Tirmidhi from Hajjaj ibn Arta'a. You remember this name? Hajjaj ibn Arta'a, those who consider him to be trustworthy and think good about him, such as Ahmad ibn Hanbal, say that he was a mudallis, meaning that he plays. He might hear hadith from someone and hide it, and he just go to, so he narrated it from Amr ibn Shu'ayb and he made it the hadith from Umar ibn Khattab. We said Hajjaj ibn Arta'a is considered not to be untrustworthy only because of his memory, bad memory. He is not considered to be trustworthy at all because of his lies and stuff, because of the way his behavior. Many narrators are considered to be weak because they have bad memory. But this man, the problem with him is his behavior, like his what we call his conduct, his character. His character was a bad character, and Allah says in the Quran, "In ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in fatabayyanu." If a fasiq come to you with information, you have to investigate. Now, what he says here, first, it is very big possibility that he actually took this hadith from Muthanna ibn Sabbah. It's not impossible, because he take hadith from someone and he will hide the weak people from the hadith. He does that. He is known to do that. And he didn't say that he heard the hadith from Amr ibn Shu'ayb myself. That is one thing. It's possible that he took it from another weak person. The other thing here is that he himself testified against himself in several occasions that he is of a bad character. He says, قَتَلَنِي حُبُّ الشَّرَفِ, the love of nobility, the love of being someone like known to be pious or to be noble has killed me. So he was someone who loves this. He is untrustworthy. He is the one who says that praying in Jama'ah will make a person not noble. He says, he was asked, why don't you pray in Jama'ah? He said, because I don't like to pray beside those who sell onions and vegetables. Someone like this, his hadith is invalid. So this hadith altogether is da'if. As the other hadith that he is trying to help this hadith with, the hadith of Ibn Abbas, that hadith of Ibn Abbas is narrated also by Ismail ibn Muslim from Amr ibn Dinar from Tawus from Ibn Abbas, and Ismail ibn Muslim is known to the people that he is weak in his memory, so the hadith stays to be weak. So there is nothing to stop.
What form of madhahib takes hadith?
This hadith is taken by the four madhahib, but it's generally is not, because some people might not rely on the hadith, they might rely on something else, like being good to your parents, meaning that when a person is dead, he can't be good or bad anymore. It depends now who is going to take the revenge. Are the children of the brothers of the killed person, or his children? That will be the grandfather.
Yeah.
But what if the person who has the right here to talk is someone foreigner? You understand? Someone other than the father, or foreigner to the father. Let's say no. Someone, if the father, for example, is the only person that, if we have only the father and his cousin, so the closest person here to the father, to the deceased, the killed person, is the cousin, and the cousin doesn't have to be that kind of good to his cousin. So the father of the killed person, for him, he doesn't have any duties towards him really.
So that's the Manih for.
That is the Manih. Best Manih here when we talk. Let me just mention, he says Manih lil-Hukum. He mentions another Manih lil-Sabab. Manih lil-Sabab. The Sabab is, we say, the cause. So the cause is معنى أن تكون الشريعة قررت حكما تكليفيا بناء على وجود السبب. So the Sharia will make a hukum because the cause is there. For example, you have enough money to give zakat, and this is the example that they give, because the examples in the books of fiqh are always the same. So they say here, a man who has the amount of money where the zakat is due, and it has been 1 year now, like passed on the money, so he must pay zakat. So he said, but that money he was collecting it for a different reason, to pay his loans. So he says, the order, what you know from the Sharia, that this man has to pay his loan. But now there is a barrier between him and paying that zakat. And that is the loan. He said this loan, the fact that his money he is not really a real owner of that money. So he should not pay zakat. And he mentions the dalil here. He said, قَدْ صَحَّ عَنِ النَّبِي. It is clear it is sahih from the saying of the Prophet that he said, لا صدقة إلا عن ظهر غنى. that there is no charity or sadaqah or zakat except عن ظهر غنى, except that for someone who is rich himself. Just 1 minute. See, he said the hadith says it is hadith sahih that the Prophet said لا صدقة إلا عن ظهر غنى. That hadith is narrated by Ahmed. The true hadith is which is narrated by Bukhari. This hadith is narrated by Ahmed and it's called shadh. Shadh means it contradicts the narration of the more trustworthy people. The most trustworthy people, the people who are trustworthy more than this person who narrated this hadith, have said that the Prophet said, خَيْرُ الصَّدَقَةِ, the best sadaqah is the one that you give while you are rich. Meaning, it leaves you rich. You don't give it and you stay poor. You give it, but you stay rich. You have rich doesn't mean owning everything. You have enough. The hadith this hadith here, la sadaqah, there is no charity. This hadith here is shadh. The meaning of it is sahih. It is haram for anybody to give all his property, or to give property, for example, to give more than the third of his property at any time. Anyway, there is, however, sometime the third of your property you can give it and still be poor. Someone has 3 pounds.
Yeah.
Now, giving 1 pound is allowed. It's not haram to give 1 pound, but he will be poor with 2 pounds. So it's better not to. So, but there is nothing to say he can't. So that hadith here, the meaning of it to a certain extent is fine, but not true. However, is it fine for someone who has the full nisab? He has the full amount of money. Nisab is the amount that if you have, you are required to give zakat. Someone who has the full nisab and the money is due to be given, the money is due to, it's due, the zakat is due. Is it fine for him not to give the zakat just because he is collecting this money for sadaqah? No, it isn't. Someone who has a loan, he still has to pay sadaqah, zakat. Why? Because the question that this person owned this money, but he is not full owner, doesn't make sense. There is no such thing in the religion that's called owner or part owner. Part owner meaning, okay, I own this part of this book, you own part of it, whether 50% or sharing. But I own fully half of it, and you own fully half of it. However, I own all of it, but not own all of it. Doesn't make sense. It's, do you own it or not? I am the only owner of this person, but my ownership is not full. How does it work? Understand? Because you have a loan. Because I have a loan, so is this money mine or the person that I owe it to? You don't say it's yours and it's not yours. So you have to make it out. Is it my property or his? It has to be one of us. Now what they say, just will give me 1 minute. Now what they say here, the loan, the money that you own, it's yours. When you take a loan from someone, when you take £1,000 for a year, now that £1,000 is your money. It's not his money. It will become his money after 1 year. For now, if it's his money, then you can't use it. You see, what is the difference between amana and dain? Amana, trust, and loan. If I give someone amana, he put it in his house, then I break into his house and take it. That will be doing haram, breaking into his house and cheating. And however, nobody will say, oh, you have to cut his hand. Why? Because cutting his hand for someone who has stolen. He has not stolen anything. Stealing is to take someone else's property. He has taken his property. However, if someone gives someone £1,000, for example, and then he has taken it for a year, and then he put it in his house, within that year, he goes and take £1,000 from his house, that person is a thief.
Within that year?
Yeah, he gave him £1,000 for a year. And then he went to his house, and then he stole £1,000. They caught him. He said, he owes me £1,000 anyway.
You cut his hand.
He is a thief. He has taken £1,000. Your £1,000 is after a year, not now. You don't own £1,000 right now. You have given it away.
That condition 1 year.
You made it. إذا تداينتم in the book. That is the condition in the book of Allah. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى. If you give a loan to a specific time, it has to be a specific time. You don't just give someone money like this. I give you a loan. For how long? You have to mention how long.
So if you don't specify, then it becomes an amana.
No, if you don't specify, it's invalid. You can take it any time. It's invalid. The whole aqd is invalid, according.
Sure. No, I've given Khalid.
But that is not the majority opinion.
I've given him £1,000 for a year. Am I supposed to give zakat on that £1,000?
No, you don't give zakat on that £1,000 because he gives zakat on that £1,000.
Okay.
Because that £1,000 now it's for his money.
Okay.
So when he stays with him for a year, he gives zakat for it. You don't have to give zakat for the money that you don't own. Someone gives money for 20 years, for example. It's the person who has it who has to pay the zakat. So if you know who, so you have to make the difference. Who is the owner here? For these 20 years, I don't own this money. Someone else owns it, and he has the right to deal with it the way he sees.
So he pays that.
Yeah.
The Manih come in here.
So the Manih is not here, Manih, but I can give you an example of Manih. So here, the examples that he has given, both, are not really the good examples. The good example is the time of the prayer starts. So the mukallaf has to pray. All the condition, the time of prayer has started, of dhuhr. This man and this woman and they are adults, not insane. Everything is there. Then the woman get her menses, the haid, what we call. That is manih. That is something that will stop her from praying. That is the manih. So that is what we call the manih. He says here, قد صح عن النبي عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته أنه قال لا صدقة إلا عن ظهر غنى. So he mentioned the hadith that the Prophet said that there is no charity. He said that the hadith says the best charity is the one that is عن ظهر غنى, that leaves to you something to leave you rich. He says, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made in the categories of people who deserve the zakat, al-gharimin. Amongst the people who deserve zakat are what we call al-gharimin. Al-gharimin is someone who has loans. Someone who owe money to others. So this person deserves zakat. So he said, and sahibud dayn, the person who has a loan, he is gharim. Therefore,
he has given the money.
The person who needs to pay, who has to pay the loan. He say he is gharim.
The person who is in debt.
Gharim is someone who is in debt.
Oh, okay.
So he is in debt. So if he is in debt, and Allah said, give the zakat to those who are in debts. He said, now he deserves the zakat. How can he pay the zakat?
Right.
That is a rule that these people who use it contradicted themselves. Because they say someone who has an amount of money, someone who has, for example, 5 awsuq, 5 what we call the amount that you can carry on 5 camels. Let's say just the awsuq, 5 awsuq means around 300 something kilos. So they say this person has to pay zakat. Someone who has dates, for example, this amount of dates must pay zakat. Everybody accepts that he has to pay zakat. If he doesn't have any loans, if he say he has loans, then he doesn't have to, because he deserves zakat, because he is one who needs zakat. How can he pay zakat when he? No, he must pay zakat and take zakat. Then ask the people to give him zakat, but he must pay zakat.
No.
And if he says, how does it work? We say, okay, someone who has this amount of dates that has reached the nisab, but he is looking after his children and the children of his brother and the children of his sister and their children and their grandchildren. He has the family 300 people. He is responsible for 300 people. He has an amount that is enough to give zakat. But if he starts spending on his family, nothing. It's nothing. He is very poor. I mean, maybe someone who has that amount is rich if he's alone, but he has 300 people to look after. So he is very, very poor. Do you say that he doesn't have to pay zakat? They will say, no, he has to pay zakat and ask for zakat. The same.
So they contradict themselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if Allah said, you don't stop the hukum of Allah just like that. Allah said you have to pay zakat, you have to pay zakat. And then if you need, then ask for zakat for your loan. When your loan is due, because your loan maybe is not due for another 10, 20 years. So you pay the zakat now and later, and then when the time is due, then you see what you do. So that is what we call the Manih. So after the Manih, we have spoken about the cause, the shart, and the Manih. And then we say the Sahha and Butlan. He said that we are going to talk about Sahih and Batil later, the condition.